The head of the Border Patrol says that the White House policies only make the border crisis worse. Those comments came during a recorded deposition last month with the Florida Attorney General's office. The state is suing the Department of Homeland Security for not following federal law in detaining illegal immigrants. NewsNation's senior correspondent got the deposition and joins me now from Miami. Brian?
Yeah, Chris, this was really, really interesting because you know how it normally is when these guys talk, when federal officials give interviews to the public or to the media. They're very guarded. They usually make it seem like everything is okay and under control. But this was very, very different. The border chief, his name is Raul Ortiz. He was in this recorded deposition that has to do with the Attorney General of Florida. They're suing the federal government over what's happening at the border. And so he had to testify. He was asked questions by attorneys. And he basically opened up in a way we haven't seen before, actually calling it a crisis at the border. Listen to a little bit of what he said, Chris.
Would you agree, Chief Ortiz, that the southern border is currently in crisis?
Objection.
Yes.
Would you agree, Chief Ortiz, that unprecedented numbers of aliens are illegally entering the United States right now?
Objection.
Yes.
When President Biden was elected, did the number of aliens trying to illegally enter the United States increase or decrease?
Objection.
Increase.
From your 31 years of experience, has the Border Patrol in a year ever had the number of encounters that it's going to have in 2022?
Objection.
No.
So he said flat out in his 31 years of experience, it has really never been this bad. They've never had so many people crossing the border. It's been pretty crazy even where I am here in Miami, in South Florida. There have been migrant crossings, constantly boats coming across the Atlantic landing here on the beaches, migrants from Cuba and Haiti. There were several that came again last night. The numbers just keep going up and up here and also on the border with Mexico. Look at this video, Chris. This is crazy. This is from last week. This is a tanker truck that was full of 26 migrants. They were inside the tank. They didn't have water. They barely had air to breathe. It was a smuggling operation. It's becoming pretty clear that things are out of control, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. Brian Enton in Miami, thank you.
Thanks.
The crisis at the border is something the White House appears to want to ignore, even though Americans are clearly concerned about it. A recent NPR poll asked whether the U.S. is experiencing an invasion at the southern border. 53% said yes, and only 19% said no.
Somebody unvaccinated comes over on a plane. You say that's not okay. Somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated. They're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. Like, we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
Joining me now, Meredith McGRAW, national political correspondent for Politico. Meredith, clearly there's a disconnect there. We report every day on migrants pouring over the border.
Yeah, the White House press secretary received a lot of criticism for that exchange with Fox News correspondent there, especially from former Trump administration officials and Republicans who say the numbers alone paint a very different picture. And despite Title 42 remaining in place, the Customs and Border Patrol has reported a record number of migrants, and they say they're on track for almost 2 million apprehensions at the border. And they've also seen a record number of fentanyl and other deadly drug apprehensions at the border as well. So there's really a humanitarian crisis at the border right now, and certainly a national security issue as well.
So I always like to point out that less than a decade ago, there was an attempt to reform the country's immigration system. The Immigration Reform Bill of 2013 aimed to create a tough but fair legalization program for illegal immigrants. It also focused on border enforcement. It was created by a bipartisan group of 8 senators, but it did not pass the House. In fact, it was never even taken up in the House. Is it time for the Biden administration to look at similar legislation?
Well, right now, Democrats and Republicans are on two very different pages when it comes to immigration and immigration reform. President Biden passed a rule last week to reinstate protection for so-called dreamers and DACA, and that was met by advocates for immigration who say that he just didn't go far enough, whereas House Republicans have put out their own proposals for immigration should they take back the House. And those include a lot of the same policies that we saw during the Trump administration, things like a border wall or reinstating the Remain in Mexico policy, among other things. So right now, there just doesn't seem to be any real middle ground, at least from what Democrats and Republicans have proposed.
You know, why the change, though? I mean, 2013 wasn't that long ago. A lot of the people on that bill are still in the Senate. Lindsey Graham, for example, Chuck Schumer were both part of that gang of eight that passed that bill. Why has the gulf between Republicans and Democrats on this issue, which you accurately describe as a humanitarian crisis, why has it grown so greatly over the last 9 years?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we've seen just an increase in polarization among the parties, and certainly a push to the left and the right among Democrats and Republicans. And I think you could probably ask Senator Lindsey Graham, and he would tell you that he would love to pass those sorts of reforms, but there just doesn't seem to be appetite for that at this moment. And, you know, I was looking at polling. There was a new CBS poll that was released, and I was going through some of the issues. And right now, the economy, inflation are really top of mind for a lot of people. And even though they do say that immigration is going to factor into how they vote in the upcoming midterm elections, and I think it will be a politically motivating force for some voters, especially in border states. Governor Greg Abbott is campaigning on the issue in Texas. The economy is still the number one thing that voters seem to be concerned about at this moment.
Always. So, look, just 4 years ago, 38% of Americans supported building a wall along the entire southern border. That number is now 46%. How motivating is that for moderate Democrats like Kelly in Arizona?
Well, I think you've seen how Democrats in some of these border states have changed their rhetoric when it comes to immigration, and have said that their communities are facing issues with this influx of migrants. And I think for Republicans campaigning going into the midterms, that's only going to be a bigger issue for them, especially, like I said, in places like Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, places that have really bore the brunt of this influx of migrants.
Meredith McGRAW, I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.